I was wrong about the Outer Worlds, and so were you. Let me tell you why. Do you know why I was wrong? We need some... After being a gamer for so long, you kind of get a knack for guessing if a game's going to be good or not. And not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm a pretty good judge of games. So when I saw the Outer Worlds announcement trailer, alarms were going off in my head. I had a really bad feeling about it. I mean, come on, look at the trailer. The animations look tacky as shit. Not only that, it also felt like everybody else was singing its praises, saying the king of sci-fi open worlds has returned. Another alarm was going off in my head. The disaster of Fallout 76 was monumental to the gaming community, and it felt like, to me, that people were supporting the game because they wanted to get back at Bethesda. Not only that, it was announced not a month after 76 was released, and it was promising everything the Fallout community was hoping for. Bro, at this point, all the alarms were going off in my head. I feel like I was looking at those mobile ads. You know, the ones that used ARC footage but are nothing like ARC? So, with these alarms blaring in my head, I wanted to stay far away from it. And because of that, I started to develop something called a confirmation bias. Which is not great. I would only look for reviews that support my theory of it being bad. I really wanted it to be good, but I chose to be cynical so I wouldn't be let down if it turned out to be bad. It also didn't help that Obsidian had also taken an exclusivity deal with Epic. At the time, Epic was a plague to the PC gaming sphere. They would make good games like Metro Exodus exclusive just because they wanted to take some of Steam's money. The fact that they took this deal had upset me and a lot of its potential buyers. And even when I tried to give it a chance, the bad reviews only fueled my distaste for it. All the reviews I'd watched had cemented the fact that I would never, ever buy this game under any circumstances because my pride as a gamer dictates that I shall support.
I bought it because it was on a good sale. What? I can't pass up on a good sale.
And unfortunately, to justify that purchase, I had to play it. And because of that, I have to say, I was right. The combat, whack. The NPCs, whack. The quests, whack. This guy's hat, whack. The way the guy does his hair, whack. Dude, I couldn't even get past the Vicar Max quest without yawning and how slow and boring everything was. I mean, look at the acting of the NPCs. It's not normal.
You've tried the best now. Now try the rest. Spacer's choice. Oh, wow, that stings.
And usually the saving grace of these games is the combat, but even that couldn't save it. It all felt so stiff. All of this has added to my already negative view of it, and even after trying it, I still hated it. So, I mean, of course I dropped it. I'm older now, and theoretically wiser. Emphasis on the theoretically. So, I thought I'd give it another shot. And after giving it another shot, I can probably say I was wrong. And I'll explain why. I forgot to give some context on the last part. My first time playing the Outer Worlds was in July of 2021. I know, right? It's almost been 3 years since I first played it. And I was going to do this section by just describing what my first time was like, with no footage to back it up. But I then found my old footage all the way from 2021, so you're in for a treat.
This is Outer Worlds.
You see, at first, I wasn't hooked by the story. The story starts like any other Fallout game. Part of a select few that was preserved for a lengthy amount of time, and now you've been saved from your hibernation to change the world, for better or worse. This is what made me think it was a cheap knockoff of the Fallout games. You're saved by a guy named Phineas, a scientist who's made out to be insane, but really is the most sane person of the whole solar system. His ultimate goal is to save the other inhabitants of the Hope, the ship where you're hibernating on, but unfortunately has a grocery list in order to make that happen. After your harrowing escape, life doesn't get any easier. Just like a baby giraffe, before you're even born into this world, you're being dropped to the ground at alarming speeds. You get dropped in Emerald Vale, which is basically just Florida. And if you think I'm lying, just look for yourself. It's got crackheads tweaking on bath salts, it's got your favorite swamps, it's even got Florida's friendly wildlife. But unfortunately, Florida wasn't all that interesting to me. I remember being annoyed by how much you had to walk around. If that wasn't bad enough, I also hated the dialogue. It felt forced. It felt like every other line was about how they're being oppressed by corporations. But how the first NPCs would deliver it always made it feel like a bad joke.
Yeah, I was the closest living person relative to his body at time of death. I'm the one who found him, you see, so I pay the fines.
Which annoyed me back then. I wasn't able to get past this, so every time I heard a line like this, I would take it at face value as a bad joke.
File a full report, and it's gonna be fucking laminated.
That could all be forgiven if the quests were at least fun, but the Outer Worlds committed a cardinal sin. The first quest I got was a fetch quest, and fetch quests are the bane of open world games. Silas, the guy who gives you the quest, is right outside of Edgewater, and the first person you meet when you get there. In order not to get the quest, you have to intentionally avoid him, because he's positioned right in front of the town gates. If only I hadn't talked to Silas, I might have enjoyed the game more. But because I talked to Silas, I was hoping the game would redeem itself, so I tried to get a better quest. I talked to the Vicar Max, and you know what he did? He gave me another fetch quest. I'm not kidding you when I said I walked away from that conversation and then turned the game off. Of course, that's not the whole story. I told you that I would explain why I was wrong. So let's start from the beginning. After landing in Orlando, I took time and actually listened to what the NPCs had to say. Then this time, I took notice the guards are contractually obligated to say advertisement lines, even at their own expense.
Oh, We're all part of the Spacer's Choice family here.
While the delivery of these lines sometimes felt cheap and maybe even cringe, I did end up feeling for these workers. While that's all interesting, you still have problems of your own. Unfortunately, your brand new ship, which you acquired through normal means.
I'm gonna do self-destruct.
Dude, stop! I was kidding! Catalytic converter isn't working. Luckily, this town has 2 other cars in the parking lot. This obviously gives you incentive to help the town. This starting town sets the bar for how the game's gonna work. You pull up to a planet, 2 factions hate each other, do missions for both factions, and then choose to help one or the other. Or do a secret third ending if you want to work a little harder. Unfortunately, the starting town is plagued with awfully designed quests, which is something I still stand by. If only they put more interesting quests like the quest you find as soon as you leave Emerald Vale, I think they would have been able to retain me. But I digress. Each faction has distinct viewpoints they go by. Now me personally, I hate corporations in video games. I know, hot take. So I usually end up siding with the faction that is fighting against corruption, at least at first. This game has an interesting way about making you see the quest different. Like for instance, when I was finishing the rerouting powder mission for Edgewater, I was totally convinced I should say fuck you to Spacer's Choice and reroute powder to the deserters. But just before I was about to make the decision, my companion, who I got from Edgewater, told me to rethink my decision, and instead of thinking about Spacer's Choice, I should think about the workers who would be caught in the crossfire. And because she talked to me, I instead sent the powder to Edgewater and found that there was a secret third choice that I could do that would make everybody happy. Well, everybody except one. All I had to do was send the current mayor packing for the deserters to come back, who had learned how to make better food, which would make the town more hospitable. Just don't ask about how they go about making the better food.
Because she'll never tell you.
The secret is human corpses.
This made my reputation better for all parties. I didn't have to go kill anybody to do it.
As for Reed Thompson, it was said that he lasted exactly 2 days outside the walls of Edgewater.
This is where I argue that this is the Outer World's strong point. Even when missions seem to be cut and dry, there is some hidden nuance to them, some depth, some character. Missions like these and more are found on every planet. Each are unique in their own way and make playing this game fun, which is why I enjoyed it so much. I really liked missions where if you work a little bit harder, you can get the best conclusion. You see, if I'd given the game just a little more of a chance, I would have had a lot more fun. It's not only the main quest, it's a side quest too. That being said, only after Emerald Vale will you find more quests like this. For some reason, Emerald Vale was filled with some of the worst quests of the game, which have dissuaded many players from continuing further. I found that most of the side quests after Emerald Vale are actually worth your time, and most of them had the added bonus of being well written, which means that they didn't feel like a chore to do. The side quest structure usually are standard RPG side quests. Fetch this, do this, clear this out, and complete this task. But the thing that makes them stand out is how the missions play out and the interactions with the NPCs. Many times I found myself being burnt out by a fetch quest or clear quests. And every time I was getting to that point, I felt like the game knew and would do something like this.
Welcome to Halcyon Parcel Service. Deliveries guaranteed within standard margins of accuracy. If you would like to sign for a parcel, please go to window B.
Welcome to Halcyon Parcel. How may
I get it.
Let me just look that up for
Go
you.
to window C.
It appears that a parcel for Ms. Jolicoeur, Celeste is currently out for delivery.
I'm about to go swing on someone. This is meant to make me upset. I know it is.
Halcyon Parcel Service is
Yeah, I know.
I must respectfully ask that you calm down, please. Parcels must be picked up at window A.
All the way over there. Can you just do it for me?
Maintaining proper window structure is imperative to the smooth operation of HPS. If you would like to lodge a complaint about the quality of your service, please request a complaint form at window C. If you would like to request a complaint form at window C, please make an appointment. I see you're familiar with our company policy.
The quests are aware of what they are, and when they are intentionally being annoying, they put some humor in it to make it easier to play. There are also multiple ways you can go about completing some of the missions. Take this mission for example, where you're asked to take control of the factory for someone. The end result has to be that the factory's taken over, but how you get there is all up to you. Shoot the place up, sneak in, sabotage production, kill the leader, get his ass, boom! It's all up to you. All are viable ways of completing the mission. Most of the quests have multiple paths and endings. Some even need other quests to be done in order to make an informed decision. Like you could just help one faction or the other. Or you could complete this mission where you find out that the leader of one of the factions is a mass murderer. This allows you to send him to a personal meetup with God and get a secret ending to that mission. In other games, I would look up tutorials on what decisions gave me what. But in this game, I didn't have to. I was personally invested in the lives of these fake people. And that's all thanks to the dialogue in this game is what carries it. I can confidently say this is the only open world game where I can say I exhausted every other option in order to see what each character has to say. The character has so much life to him, even if the face modeling is sometimes shoddy. The dialogue options in the game are also interesting. In other games, it's usually, hi, nice to meet you, fuck you.
and say nothing.
But in this game, you're given a plethora of options to choose from. They've nailed the comedy aspect that some games miss, where I choose a funnier dialogue option instead of the most optimized one because I thought it was funnier.
You are making a serious mistake.
I will say that there are times where jokes were made that didn't land. But once you get past Emerald Vale and into the thick of it, the comedy really starts to land.
You would never ask if you knew what it's like in here. I can see all of the top quality merchandise in the Spacer's Choice catalog, which is available here at this time. But we're always working on delivering exciting new find none like them on all the ground bridges today, and the or anywhere will be donated to. Oh, sorry, got the line wrong. You want me to do it again?
If you wouldn't mind.
The lives themselves also have more personality than other games. They aren't just the, you want me to do something? Alright. But rather, bro, what do you want me to do? This also makes it feel like we aren't playing an empty vessel of a character. It's only here to say yes or no to people asking favors. But rather one with personality, and allows us to act something similar if we're in these situations. Which is important when your character is the only one who's not voice acted. The NPC's responses also felt more natural. They aren't just stark attitude changes, depending on what you pick. But often you can see their demeanor change slowly as the conversation goes on. This definitely entices you to interact with random NPCs, just to see how their conversations would go. This game also gives you the unique ability. Well, hold on. Come a little bit closer. You need to hear this. To shut up. Believe it or not, your opinion is not always needed in real life, which a certain platform will find hard to believe. But in video games, you have to state your opinion on every matter. In this game, you don't have to, which is nice because you let the writing speak for itself. You can let two NPCs argue and get information. Or if your boy Felix is trying to rizz up some baddies, you can let him do his thing. It's beautiful, really. It also gives you, the player, more information on the NPCs and their dynamics. Honestly, I take the option when I get it, because it allows me to see how the world builds itself around me. This is very apparent with the companions are something that most games add as an afterthought. Take the Fallout series, Fallout 4 to be specific. You get companions, but they usually just boil down to helping you fight and holding your stuff. I mean, they're basically a mule of a person. You don't talk to them more than is required. Shit, you don't even make sure they're alive. I mean, in the Fallout New Vegas video, I accidentally placed an anti-material round in the face of my companion. Although I will say, Fallout New Vegas' companions are better than most of the series. But in Outer Worlds, it's different. The companions have story. They have complexity. They aren't just some mule carrying our stuff. They interject with their opinions and conversations. Sometimes helpful, sometimes not so much.
Captain, in my humble assessment, Ms. Hagen is insane.
They have their own conversations without you. It really makes the world feel more real. And I haven't seen this with most other games, which makes it more enjoyable to have them tag along. I think it's mostly because you can have two companions alongside you. I think that's a huge difference. They can interact with you, and they can interact with themselves. I found myself taking along certain companions just to see how they interact with the world, because each character had their own unique opinion on the world and situations. It was a treat when they said something or had insight. I personally enjoyed bringing along Felix because he's just too funny to leave behind. Bravati is fun to bring along because of her innocence, and Vigor Max's cynical wisdom is always a treat. All of them have their own little quirks, except Sam. Sam is just a cold-blooded cleaning machine with one mission: burn the heretics.
I'm blowing backs out.
Oh, yes. That's the spot exactly.
Dude!
I
You meet each companion completely naturally, which is really satisfying.
You got a second?
So, dog.
Fancy running into you again.
You're
Don't
in
mind
front of.
me.
You're
Admiring your ship from up close.
right in front of my ship. Each companion has their own quest, which will take them on their own character arcs. It really did surprise me on how each of the characters changed throughout their quests. Like Vicar Max, a bitter old preacher just trying to justify his beliefs with a book. But after spiritual enlightenment and some drugs, he became satisfied and a humble person. No hate came from him after this point, even when the crew would try to tempt him. In this game, you feel your journey visibly affect your crewmates. Remember the rare ability I was talking about earlier? Well, it comes in handy big time here. You're allowed to let your companions tell their own story, have their own arguments, work through trauma, and try to flirt. The crew makes it enjoyable to travel on Halcyon.
Water tablet? Just add air.
What are you saying, Martin? That's an Auntie Cleo's product.
My, whoa, what have I done? The company will have my head. Both of them. This is awful. Help me, oh, Lord!
Gotcha. What I wouldn't give to see the look on your face. This guy's real easy to fuck with.
They also help out with your skills. At the start, you're given the chance to spec your character into certain areas, which is not unlike other games. And normally I would spec all into guns and engineering, because I always thought that would be the coolest. But being older now, I realize that speech is the most broken aspect of any open world game. But what is the most drastic change? And please tell me if other games have this, because I don't remember if they do. Is that your companions help your stats. And you can bring 2 of them along, which is huge. And which means that you don't have to be level 80 to lockpick. You just need to bring Felix along and wear the right clothing. That gives you reasons to mix and match who you're taking depending on what you're doing. Honestly, one of the reasons I enjoyed the game so much was because of the companions. They also did help a little with the I'll be honest, combat is this game's weakest aspect. I've always had a distaste for health bar enemies in open world games. I find it hard to enjoy an FPS game where I need to whittle away at a red bar, where the enemy doesn't even show signs of dying until you finally kill them. I enjoy games that reward you for shooting at the right places, ensuring the enemy's health with visible damage. Don't get me wrong, the combat is fun. There's nothing like walking into a camp and just lighting it up, which I'll say this game gets right. Because you get to bring 2 companions and you're tanky as hell, you can walk into a encounter feeling like a badass. But when it comes just to one-off fighting and stealth, it's meh. It's definitely not my favorite part of the game, but it's not horrible either. I will preface this with saying I was not spec'd into strength or stealth, so melee wasn't my strong suit. But combat was cool. The time dilation ability is a cool addition to the game too. It's basically just a new Pip-Boy. I will say the ability to target certain parts of the enemy to cripple them in a special way was a nice feature. But I swear I blinded like every enemy, and I did it expecting it to remove their ability to, you know, see. Every time they would get their ass back up and continue to shoot me. Luckily, I have 4 options to solve that problem. But you want things to work as advertised, you know? It's like they don't even care anymore. The guns are pretty cool. The unique ones are interesting, but pretty basic. The different type of weapons are on the basic side too. Just your run-of-the-mill future RPG weapons. But because of their special abilities, you sometimes get random ragdolling. Damn! And he got lit up on the way out, bro. That's tough. You also do get a quest to find scientific weapons, which seem cool at first, until you continue to level up, and they don't level up with you. I mean, you could tinker with them and level them up, but after like 10 levels, it gets expensive. There's also a mod and repair system in this game. I have to say the modding is kind of basic, but it works as advertised. Mods can change the attributes of a weapon, which can make it more of a killing machine. Problem is that you get new and better weapons so frequently that you could really never justify modding the weapons. I only really started modding towards the end of the game, where I hit that leveling plateau, but never really tinkered with weapons for the same reason. Same with the armor. Nothing to write home about. They look cool and help you live in a hellish environment, which, to be honest, the environments are cool. The worlds all have their own unique feeling, although they all are just death wrapped in different gift wrapping. You have many worlds to explore that will give you your fill, but even after you're full, you'll still wonder why these planets are locked, and then you realize, fuck, they're okay, so to be honest, I rarely buy DLC for games, including if it's an open world RPG. I usually get my fill with the base game, and by the time the DLC comes out, I'm already out of there. Except for games like The Witcher 3. You know I bought both of those DLCs. That being said, I am excited to give the Cyberpunk DLC a shot. I have a history with that game that y'all may or may not hear about in an upcoming video. But I thought I wouldn't be giving y'all a fair estimate if I didn't shell out the extra 20 bucks and told y'all if it was worth it or not. Because I am a YouTuber and that's what I do. So I bought it. And I can say, I think it's worth it if you really enjoy the Outer Worlds. I feel like the stories that are told are really interesting. If not, sometimes off-putting. They take what worked with the base game and extrapolate on it. The stories are intriguing and the dialogue matches it. They also added the new worlds to explore, all set with lore for you to uncover. I liked playing through them, although to be honest, I was getting kind of done with this game. But I mean, it's crazy what this game did. In an industry where time is everything, and every video game producer is vying for it, first impressions can make or break how games perform. And those games, like the Outer Worlds that got a bad start, find themselves fighting a slow and arduous battle of changing people's minds. But, off a whim, a game that I overtly despised somehow got my attention, and changed my mind. So after all that, I think I can confidently say that I was wrong. The game is good. That being said, it does start to get good only after Emerald Vale. So if you get it, strap in and just get through it. I don't suggest getting the game for full price, but if you see it's on sale, I might suggest that you pick it up and give it a try. You might like it. But that's all I have to say for today. Hopefully I explained myself well enough. If I missed something or misinterpreted something, well, I mean, what am I gonna do? If you do end up buying the game because of this video, leave a comment about it. I wanna know if people agree or disagree with my findings. Oh, and if you all like this video, be sure to stick around. I have plenty more planned. But that's it for now. See ya.